Hello, greetings to everyone. I'm here. I'm Sabrina Brown, co-host or host of Girlfriends Tea, and I'm bringing on co-host Tamika. We are excited to be welcoming our special guest here with us, none other than Jewel Tankard. Come on in the room, Jewel. Come on in the
Hey,
room.
yay! I'm
Well, we've got
excited to
some
be here.
girlfriends here that want to greet you as well. So come on in the room, Sally, Miss Cheryl, Angela, Jemilyn, Latrice, Shawani. Oh my goodness. And Petula. I don't see Petula on camera. So we'll go ahead and just greet you. We want to thank you for joining us for a cup of tea.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you. So, as I release the young ladies, I just want to let you know that there's someone here that I want to introduce, and her name is Jemilyn Hewlett. Jemilyn is the CEO of Poolside Cooking, of which this show will be running on. And so, Jemilyn, meet Jewel. She said
Hi, Miss
hello.
Jewel. How are you?
Hey, girl, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Just happy to be right now online and talking to you.
Yay! I'm
That's
excited to be
right.
you, girl.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, Jimmalyn. Okay, Jewel, we'll get right to it. Again, we're so happy to have you here. And I want to congratulate you personally on your book. And guess what I have? Your mug.
Yay!
I am a millionaire. I'm claiming that. And I love the box that she sent it in, ladies. So
Oh,
classy, so nice. Obviously, I have the book as well. So, again, welcome officially to Girlfriends Tea. Again, everyone, we're here with the Jewel Tankard. She is a global economist and author. So, Jewel, you are an economist turned financial powerhouse who is taking the world by storm. As a serial network marketer, you have grossed over $5 million and empowered over 250,000 people in your robust organizations. You have created a global reputation for creating multiple 6 to 7 figure earners with your success strategies. So, you open your book with so many times we will invest in every other area of our lives, and we know this to be true. We learn how to cook, how to eat healthy, etc. But we don't take the time we need to invest in what will allow us to live at a level of freedom that sometimes only financial wealth can afford. What initiated your interest in establishing financial wealth for you and your family?
yeah. It actually started as a teenager. I would probably say maybe a child. I was blessed to grow up downtown Detroit. My parents are the first African Americans to have a business downtown Detroit, and they were like the first power couple. We did really well. I grew up with housekeepers and cooks and drivers, and went to private schools. My parents had his and her Rolls Royce, his and her Mercedes. I had a Volvo at 16. And then in 19, I remember us losing everything. Everything was getting repossessed. We had to move out of this beautiful home in the suburbs of Detroit. And all the housekeepers, fired. My parents' business closed. And I was devastated. My family was devastated. My dad went into a depression at the time. And I just was like, this is crazy. So I remember asking my mom a lot of questions like, hey, mom, did you have any money? Did we have any money invested? Did you have any money saved? Did we have anything paid off? And her answer for everything was pretty much like, no, your father said this, your father said that. And that's when I started to realize my mom didn't trust her own financial instinct. My mom instinctively, even today, is naturally would be a better investor and manager. My dad instinctively today would be a better producer. And so I was angry with her for
Mhm.
not following her gut, because a lot of things she wanted to do in terms of the money, investing, paying things off. My dad was like, no, no, we'll do it later. We'll do it later. And so at that point, I kind of started to make a decision that, I was going to never, have myself in this situation. So after that, I started dating drug dealers. That was my plan B. Because I was trying to replace this lifestyle that I had become accustomed to living. And so that was fun for a while. And then they started getting indicted and dying. And I went to church and or should I say indicted and getting killed. So I went to church and gave my life to the Lord. I was like, this is crazy. I'm in a whole bunch of drama. And you know, I had to just ask myself some real questions. You know, I went from my dad taking care of me to men taking care of me. Like, why couldn't I take care of myself? And so that's what kind of all started it all.
And you have an awesome testimony. And I like that you keep it at the forefront so that people will understand how hard you had to work, and that you were able to overcome, because it helps those of us who are in similar situations. Now, in your book, I want to, we know the hardest thing when someone's trying to change their mindset is to get their mind right. And you have, habits on how we should think. So I'm going to bring some of those up right here. The Millionaire's Confessions. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. I love that. So how important is it for us to continue in this mindset for acquiring wealth?
I think, it's one of those things, like, if you want to become wealthy, you got to just make up in your mind, you're going to study the wealthy. You're going to study the wealthy. You're going to follow the wealthy, and that it's an evolutionary process. It's almost kind of like, a cardiologist going to med school 30 years ago, but he hasn't gotten any continued education. He's not around some of the top cardiologists who are now maybe adding on how they treat the heart. How they treated the heart 15 years ago and how they treat the heart today are totally different. There's artificial intelligence, there's stem cell, there's tech, there's new medical science, that's come out to make the heart function better. Like, it's all these different things. It's the same thing with money. Like, you might have said, oh, I went to a wealth conference, 5 or 10 years ago, but like how we're moving with money now is totally, totally different. So I think you have to make a decision that if I'm serious about becoming wealthy, not just being an entrepreneur, because most entrepreneurs never become wealthy. I think you got to get serious about, you know what, I really want to understand wealth. So therefore, I'm going to have to commit to making a decision. Because honestly, before I ever started, working hard, Sabrina, because I didn't even have my first job till I was 19. So
Wow.
I was living a life of luxury. It wasn't me working hard. Honestly, the God, obviously now I've worked hard to kind of get where I am now. But I think even more so than working hard from a labor standpoint, I first made a decision. So I think you got to make a decision. Hey, this is how my life is going to be. I'm going to live in mansions. I'm going to, be able to own yachts, or, take, the plane from Atlanta to, Baltimore, and then take the helicopter over to Martha's Vineyard. Like, you got to make a decision that this is how I'm going to move. Then after that, you got to put in play and start educating yourself and making sure that you're in a wealth community. Because a lot of people want to be wealthy, but it doesn't mean that they've necessarily started taking the right actions to get them there.
Absolutely. And I like what you said. We know about working hard. So that reminds me, we are live on Roku on Couch Potato Flicks. So you can't be a couch potato if you want to be wealthy. You've got to get off the couch. So thank you to Kunta and the staff, Toya and Micaiah at Couch Potato Flicks. Thank you that we're streaming live with you. So you conveyed that we need a community that celebrates our successes. So tell us about your Millionaires Club and how it cultivates an environment of celebrating successes.
Absolutely. So I started the Millionaires Club several years ago because I wanted there to create a platform where women could learn from a woman, and even other women in the club, how to become successful, how to become wealthy. I think that, my focus in the club is not as much as your business blowing up, which I want that to happen. And I think there are things tools and tips that you can get, but we really put a strong emphasis on you becoming a savvy investor. We want to take you from being a beginner investor, from maybe buying things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, or maybe investing in digital property in the metaverse, or maybe starting to save gold or silver, and then move you over into a moderate investor, and then eventually a savvy investor. Because honest to God, if you really get good at investing, you can get to a point where you're living off of the interest and never sell a product or never sell a service, but your investments became so strong that everything else you do is because you want to do it, but not necessarily to pay bills.
That's correct. Now, I love this verse here, chapter and verse. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision, we're familiar with that, and make it plain upon tables, that it may run, that he may run that readeth. So we got to put it on paper, put it on tablets. How is this verse utilized in your success? For example, do you journal, vision
Yeah,
boards?
yeah. Actually, I have a journal right here next to me, and I write it in it every single day. Affirmations. I'm bold, I'm strong, I'm young, I'm energetic, I'm vibrant, I'm smart, I'm anointed, I'm powerful, I'm beautiful. I write everything that I'm believing for. I write it down. I write down, like, where I have a prayer conference that I have to get ready to prepare, that I've been preparing for. So I've already written down how the prayer conference is going to go. Friday night, we're going to experience the power of God like never before. I believe the
Amen.
prophetic move of God. I declare what my season is. Nobody else declares what their season. People sometimes wait for other people to say this is going to happen, or I'm gonna see what the government says, or I'm gonna see what my husband says, or I'm gonna see what my friends say. But you need to get in the habit of saying, what do you say?
That's
Because
right.
ultimately what you say and what you decide, you can have. So the life that I'm living today, my amazing marriage to my husband of 21 years, Ben Tankard, amazing man, right?
Yes.
The church that we pastor, the beautiful mansion that we live in, like, all this was created in my imagination before I manifested it. So we all have the ability to do that. The Bible talks about how he is no respecter of person. I think the discipline is to take it seriously, that if I write it and if I keep saying it and I keep writing it, I'm going to manifest it, period. And
Amen.
so the fight of faith is really your mind. Like, what are you saying? And what are you believing? And what are you thinking about? I keep magazines. I have two magazines right here that I'm subscribed to. Unique magazine right here. So I keep these kind of magazines before me. I was talking to my niece the other day, and she was saying, Tia, I want a glass house. This is Phoenix, because we're buying a mansion in Scottsdale. So I have a Phoenix home decor magazine, home and garden magazine. They have garden shows that we like to go to see some of the finest gardens. Like, who's thinking about a garden? Well, when you become wealthy, you exposure changes everything. You don't know what you want till you've been exposed to it. So we put a lot of emphasis on that. As a matter of fact, we are going to Martha's Vineyard in Newport, Rhode Island, June. I think it's June 1st through the 4th. You guys can join us. Get on jeweltankard.com. I'm taking a group of about 50 women. It's going to be so dope, because we're touring the Rockefeller Mansion, the Vanderbilt Mansion. We're going to look at their blueprint on how they
Mm.
built their homes, the staffing that they had, the ideas that they had. Why did the Rockefeller money outrun the Vanderbilt money? What was the difference in philosophies and values, and what things and protocols that they put in place? So all that comes from exposure. Sometimes you're underexposed, and underexposure can be a very dangerous thing, because you can't reach for something you've never seen.
Now, I like that. We can't reach for something. That's why it's so important that we expose children or even young adults so that they're already at that mindset. Now, you advise that we accumulate wealth, assets like real estate, oil, and I said gold, jewel with oil, gold and silver, even, so that we can live off of the interest, as you said. But how do you advise that beginners start, Jewel? Via your Millionaires Club?
Yeah, I mean, I think, whether you're a beginner, or even I have some people in my club that are advanced investors. I think that, even myself, I need community. Like, you don't ever outgrow. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner investor, a housewife with just $150 in the bank account, you know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
whether or not you got 100,000, or maybe a milli, or maybe 10 milli. Like, I think what's most important is that you keep yourself in an environment where you can keep learning. Because sometimes we do things, we're creatures of habit. So if there's no new information in, there's not going to be any different results out. And sometimes we are wanting different results that we have not made the necessary steps to do. Prayer is a huge part of my life, but I also have to cooperate with God by learning, asking questions, being in the right environment. It's a lot of saved people I know, unfortunately, that are broke. And unless they're willing to learn something different, do something different, and get around the right people, like, a lot of times we ask people, like the wrong people the wrong questions. I'm not going to ask somebody who we're making the same amount of money, what do I need to do to go to the next level? I can't take myself to the next level. I have to have somebody that's a resident of that next level and then open myself up to learn from them, because a lot of times we're doing stuff that's just old. It's all you know. So you just like going to Blockbuster and they're out of business. Like, why don't you have Netflix downloaded? Well, I don't like the computer like that. I don't like downloading apps like that. Well, you're going to be behind. Eventually, your relevancy will wane, and what's relevant today will be irrelevant tomorrow. So you can't ever say that. I mean, we saw that with Blockbuster and Netflix. Netflix came and knocked on Blockbuster's door and said, "Hey, we want to partner with you." They weren't interested, and so now they're antiquated, out of business, right? And now
That's
Netflix
right.
is soaring. But now it's not just Netflix; it's Hulu, right? It's Roku, right? It's
Yeah.
you know, Prime Amazon, Prime Video. So you can see there's a whole evolution happening. So sometimes people get stuck in a particular year, they get stuck in a particular decade because they weren't willing to put themselves in enough positions that made them uncomfortable, that caused them to challenge the way that they currently do things. Even how I go grocery shopping. I really go grocery shopping now. I'd rather just get on my app and go to Instacart and place my grocery order, right? But I
Right.
remember when it first came out, I was like, well, I like to go grocery shopping. I don't know if I want to do that. But I made myself do it. So every time I get an upgrade, you can now upgrade your software. I do it. Every time I get a notification that something is new is out, I do it. Like right now, we're on iPhone, what, 13? I have the 12 Pro. When the 14 comes out, I'm definitely getting it. Some people are still using iPhone 6. That happens in your money. You're still with the traditional checkings and savings, 401k, CD bonds, mutual funds, and nobody's really becoming wealthy that way anymore. So you might say, well, I don't know what to do. Well, that's why the places, organizations like the club are around, where you can say, okay, let me get into a space where I can really learn and grow, because I don't want to repeat what I've already done.
I like that analogy of iPhone 6 vice, being current. Yeah, a quote from your book: stretching is supposed to be uncomfortable, and it really is. So don't run away when you find yourself out of your comfort zone. So even with what you have accomplished, which areas or area are you still uncomfortable with?
I mean, I would say I've gotten kind of used to being uncomfortable. I'm on the metaverse now, and so I've been buying digital property, and I had to buy Oculus about 2 months ago. And getting on there, I was very uncomfortable. They were like, create your boundary. I'm like, what? My boundary. I'm looking at it with my headphones on, and I'm, moving around. And then they're like, take a picture. I'm like, how do you take a picture? Grab the picture. How do you grab a picture? At first I was just trying to see how to walk, and then I had to learn how to run. And all
Mhm.
that was uncomfortable. And a couple times the thought came to my mind, like, "Child, I'm gonna do all this. This is," and I was like, "No, yes, you are, because you already know how this works." And so I started actually liquidating a lot of my physical property in the city of Detroit and putting it into digital assets, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, because my grandparents and parents, if you own real estate, you can become wealthy.
Mhm.
Just buy up the blocks. It don't work like that. I bought up the blocks, and at the end of the year, I was sitting at about 12% profit. I make that in a week, in crypto and digital. So, but if I wasn't open and learning, I would have still been doing it the hard way, dealing with evictions, property taxes, and homeowners insurance. And now the laws, because of COVID-19,
Yeah.
they made it for the in favor of the tenant. So now tenants get more rights than the landlord.
Mm-mm.
So you could have a property and not have rent paid for a year or two, but you still gotta, take care of the maintenance, and you cannot put the people out, and if you put the people out, then you risk being sued. Or if you have a property stay open, vacant too long, if you don't get a squatter in there, you risk being robbed, especially if it's in the inner city. So, I'm about working smarter, not harder, making more money and working easier. And so that's where my mindset is. And, people that have that mindset, then they're going to be attracted to what we're doing.
Outstanding. What should our financial pie look like? Because you talk about the financial pie in your book.
Well, I need to tell you, oil right now is not really popping.
Mm.
Been in the oil business for about 10 years, but since 19, it really impacted drillers. So A lot of the drillers aren't showing up to work. The engineers to drill down into the ground, and then they drill vertically and horizontally. So I wouldn't recommend doing anything in oil just yet. I think that's going to shift, but for right now, no. I would say that you need to have liquid cash all the time. You need to, open up a cryptocurrency platform like, crypto.com or Coinbase or Black Wall Street, and start buying Bitcoin or Ethereum and just holding it. Even if it's just, $10 a week, $100 a week. But I would definitely say start. And then I would say crypto. Oh, and then I would start probably saving silver. You can buy an ounce of silver right now for $23 an ounce. You can set it up on auto save. I would do at least 1 to 10 ounces a month, paying yourself. And then at the end of the year, you can liquidate it, go to a gold or silver dealer and, liquidate it and turn it into Bitcoin. I would take mine and go buy Bitcoin. Yeah, I think those would be some of the main things. But I think really more than anything, you can do those things, but it's not just about running a play. It's really about like, okay, I ran that play last month, but because everything is entry and exit. You see what I'm saying? Everything is about entry and exit. It's about entering the market at the right time and then exiting the market at the right time. So sometimes people can hear me on the live and say, oh, I went and bought Bitcoin. Hey, that's super dope. I'm glad you did. But now let us teach you how to make money on holding that Bitcoin, because you can actually earn interest on you holding the Bitcoin. And let us show you how to do that. And, so there's a lot of different ways, but, I tell people you don't have to become like a genius in it. You don't have to become like a master of understanding all this, but you do need to be in a community where you can get some of the tea and start moving accordingly.
Now, I like that. Some of the tea. Now, you're very busy, very busy. I mean, I love your energy. Tell us about self-care. How do you relax? What do you do for Jewel?
I do a lot for Jewel. Okay. I'm definitely on that self-care thing. I have a masseuse come over once a week, and she does a 2-hour deep tissue with like 10 different oils: frankincense, lavender, chamomile. I mean, this chick is bad. Oh, she is bad. I mean, she does the lymphatic drainage, my waist, like keeping everything, tight. I drink a lot of water. Got my water right here, a lot of alkaline water. And then I don't really do carbs or sugar. And then yesterday I had a facial. I go get facial sometimes once or twice a month. So I'm big on pampering myself. So I work 10 to 14-hour days on average, but I get rest. I get good rest. I don't go to bed till about 12 o'clock, sometime between 11:30 and 1 o'clock at night. And I'll usually sleep to about 8, sometimes 8:30. So I get really good rest. I sleep very well. And then I take a lot of vitamins like vitamin D, B, zinc, a more good basic multivitamin, iron. So I make sure that I really take good care of myself. We fasted today, but over here on my kitchen, I got a big pot of greens and some corn on the cob.
Oh, come on, somebody. Come on.
So when we get back from the prayer conference tonight, we will be eating some good, healthy food, but we use turkey, bacon even in that. So I think, and I do fresh juice. So I think, it's about eating healthy, drinking healthy, and then I don't play about my massages and I don't play with my facials. I'm on top of all of that.
Okay, well, we're going to go to Tamika because we have a couple of girlfriends that may have a question for you. Come on in the room, Mika.
Hello.
Hey.
Miss Jewel, you look absolutely gorgeous. Skin is glowing. I love it. Well, we do have a question coming from Miss Latrice McKnight. Let's bring Miss Latrice into the room. Welcome, girlfriend.
Hello. It's so good to be here. I salute you, Jewel.
Okay. Thank you, girl. Thank you.
Welcome. I have a question. Pretty much want to know or understand a strategy. As you know, Black spending has hit over $1 trillion in our states. And I was just wondering, with us only making up 14% of the population, and that spending not going into our Black-owned businesses. What are some of the strategies, or what is a strategy that you may have that will help us to deter that spending and give it or aim it towards our Black-owned businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think you have to make a decision that you want to support Black. You know what I mean? And I think we have to keep having the conversation, and we have to keep educating, because even though we're spending that much, I can't say that made me happy, because I feel like we've been consumer minded. You know, we are spenders traditionally, but the only way we're really going to grow economically is to become wealthy ourselves and then teach other people. You know what I mean? And I think we just have to keep, having the conversation like, child, that's a Black owned business. I went to the dentist the other day and he was backed up. I go to a Black dentist, and I was telling my assistant, she said, it's another Black dentist over there. So within our community, we've kind of created that culture. People know we're looking for Black business, but I think it's just about, having the conversation, keep encouraging. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's a perfect question. Of course, I did save the last question coming from myself here, because as people are starting businesses and things like that, the question is how, trying to figure out, should they start a LLC, a private corporation? How do you decide what that first step is?
I think, that's why you got to have a good accountant, or tax strategist. Ideally, if you have an accountant, get someone that is connected to a good tax strategist in their firm so you can run it by them. I had a conversation with my accountant just last week about, how I should set up my Airbnbs. Does each Airbnb need to have a separate LLC, or can we just do all in one? I'm not a tax strategist. I'm not an accountant, but I would tell people, for that, talk to your tax strategist. This is my game plan. This is what I'm looking at doing. What do you think would be best? So ask people in their field. My goal with any business that people start, you better learn how to invest. Because what if your business takes 5 years to get off the ground? What if it takes 10 years to get off the ground? What if you hit a lick for 5 years, but products and services change in the industry and you didn't change fast enough? You need to, at the end of the day, make sure that whatever business, product, or service you are offering, that you also become an investor of your money, because you want to get to the point where you can live off of the interest and not just look for the income to pay your bills and your lifestyle.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Definitely some jewels of nuggets. So turn it over to Miss Sabrina.
Oh, thank you so much, Mika. Well, I want to ask a question. You and your husband, Ben, we know Ben Tankard, love his music, are pastors at the Destiny Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And I did see that you have a prayer conference. Your dad was a pastor, Jewel. When did you realize the call upon your life to pastor?
Oh, no, my daddy wasn't no pastor.
He wasn't?
Ben's daddy was
Ben's dad was a pastor. Okay, I got wrong information. Yeah. I know I saw somebody's dad was a pastor.
Yeah, Ben's parents were, in the ministry.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents were entrepreneurs. I didn't even grow up in church. The only time I went to church is on holidays or when I spent the night at my grandmother's house.
Okay.
I didn't really give my life to the Lord seriously till I was 19 after going through all of that stuff. But yeah, I didn't grow up in church like that.
Oh, okay. Well, I do want to give you an opportunity, because we're wrapping it up, to talk about, just share how they can register for your prayer conference with Dr. Medina Pullins and Pastor Melva Henderson. So would you like to share about that?
Yeah, so you guys can get on destinycentertn.com, destinycentertn.com. And it is about to start shortly at 7 Central tonight, and then tomorrow night at 6 Central, and then Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. Central. And if you're in the area, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, pull up on us. General admission tickets are $30. So would love to have you guys there. It's going to be powerful. I'm excited. Thank you, Sabrina, for having me and thinking about me. You guys go out and buy my book, Mind of a Millionaires. Everything is Jewel Tankard. My Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Jewel Tankard for everything. So, and I love you to have you guys a part of the club. I think you really love it. And if you're interested in cryptocurrency, definitely reach out again, jeweltankard.com, and somebody or myself will be in touch soon.
Well, excellent. So we're going to bring the girlfriends back in because we're going to send you off. Everyone, come on in the room. All right, girlfriends. So we have our manners. We know what to do. Jewel, we have a saying. I call it kind of corny, but we love it. So how are we going to toast her? We're going to say, girlfriend, girlfriend. So you're our girlfriend, Jewel. So when we show up at your door and say, hey, we're girlfriends, T.
Come on, girl. Come on, girl.
Come on in the house. But thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, our Couch Potato Flicks on Roku. We thank you for streaming with us today. You all can catch this if you miss it. You can catch us on Poolside Cooking under GTTV. All right, Jewel, we thank you. And we hope to see you again.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye, dear.